and celebrate Eid al-Adha, the dailies are filled with stories touching families, faith, leadership, security, and the economy. I am ABIODUN SAMSON, taking you through the headlines, making the front pages this Wednesday, the 27th of May, 2026. And on the stand this morning, I have the Nigerian Tribune, the Punch newspaper, the Nations, and also Daily Post. So stay with me as we break down the stories making the headlines across the countries today. Starting with the Nigerian Tribune for this morning with this headline that says primaries fallout, defeated gubernatorial aspirants, senators rep perfect defection moves, ADC, NDC, PRP top list of preferred parties as Abuja court rulings, opens the floodgates, defection eats Bauchi and Jigawa. And these stories are on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune for this morning. And also on the Nigerian Tribune, Tinubu to Nigerians, your sacrifices yielding results. And that's on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Still on the front page, I have this story that says, Amechi Ayatudin protest as Atiku leads in ADC presidential primary election. And that is on page 3. And also on the Nigerian Tribune, Oyo kidnap, DHQ deploys troop surveillance assets to track perpetrators. And with these riders that says troops killed 317 terrorists, they rescued 221 victims in May. And also kidnapped crane and IBEDC workers regain freedom. Still on the Nigerian Tribune for this morning that says AFDB to invest $7 billion in newly established Nigerian aircraft leasing company, says the federal government, and that is on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune for this morning. And still on the same dailies, court dismisses suit seeking to disqualify Jonathan from participating in 2027 polls, and they fine a plaintiffs of 21 million naira. And those are the stories that made it to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune for this morning. Forward to the Nation newspaper for this morning with this headline that says Tinubu pledges improved security in Eid message. Duke honor to fly PRP PDP presidential flags. Court affirms INEC's power to issue election timetable schedule of activities. And also, court rejects suit seeking to bar Jonathan from contesting. And those are the stories from the Nations for this morning. To the Punch newspaper for this morning, ADC primary in turmoil as Amechi rejects Atiku wins. Court orders INEC to adjust 2027 polls timetable. Salah, Tinubu, Akpabio, governors preach unity and sacrifice. Oyo abduction, CDC deploys spy aircrafts and special forces. 30,000 Fulani militants fueling Nigerians' insecurity, U.S. reports. More gubernatorial candidates emerge under PDP and ADC. Oil price jumped amid renewed U.S.-Iran tensions. Jonathan cleared for 2027 as Turaki PDP hails court verdicts. Ex-Power Minister Maman begins 75 years jail term in Kuje. And those are the stories that made it to the front page of the Punch newspaper for this morning, the 27th of May, 2026. Post for this morning, Hahid El Kabal, Governor Idris urges prayers for peace, progress in Nigeria, Kebbi. Nigerians groan as cooking gas eats 1,500 per kg, urge government immediate actions. Court reserves judgment on final forfeiture of Malami's 57 properties. Fear of insecurity, financial pressure kept many Nigerians from Hahid travel, says MPAC. Lagos government recovers over 270 million naira from fraudulent estate agents and developers. And those are the stories from Daily Post for this morning. If you are just tuning in, it's still the newspaper review on your dial 101.5 FM, the only radio station that is broadcasting for all. And I will be starting with the headlines that made it to the front page of the Punch newspaper for this morning. And this headline says, ADC primary in turmoil as Amechi rejects Atiku wins. Former Rivers State Governor and presidential aspirant of the African Democratic Congress, Rotimi Amechi, on Tuesday rejected the outcome of the party's presidential primary election, describing the result collated from across the country as concocted. Amechi, one of the three contenders of the ADC presidential ticket, alongside the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and economist Mohammed Ayatuddin, announced his position in a statement posted on his verified X account. The former Minister of Transportation alleged that widespread voters' disenfranchisement marred the exercise conducted across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory on Monday, following the report of widespread voters' disenfranchisement in most parts of the country during the African Democratic Congress presidential primaries yesterday. He said, I equivocally reject the concocted result being announced. I had initially stated that I would only accept the outcome of the primaries if the process was free and fair and transparent. And I stand by my words. I will not accept results from a process that does not reflect the value that the ADC had pledged to uphold to rescue Nigerians from the impunity and gross mismanagement that our country is currently facing in the hands of the ruling party, he wrote. Amechi further claimed that a significant number of party members were denied the opportunity to participate in the exercise. He said there is no way that about 80% of members of the party were not allowed to vote, and to expect me to accept such results, then what makes us different from others, he asked. And this story continues on the Punch newspaper for today, the 27th of May, 2026. On the same day list, court orders INEC to adjust 2027 polls timetable. The Federal High Court in Abuja has affirmed the power of the Independent National Electoral Commission to issue and alter election timetables for the conduct of election. It, however, held that although the Commission is empowered to perform this function, such powers must be exercised strictly in line with the timelines prescribed by the Electoral Act 2026. The court therefore ordered INEC to amend the election timetable for the 2027 election and schedule of activities in compliance with Section 21, subsection 1 and 31 of the Electoral Act 2026. The judgment comes as the electoral body appeals on earlier judgment notifying part of its revised guidelines for the 2027 general elections. Justice James Omotosho, while delivering judgment on Tuesday in a suit filed by the Social Democratic Party in suit number FHC/ABJ/CS/720/2026, held that INEC is constitutionally empowered to issue election timetables and schedules of activities for elections. And the story continues on the Punch newspaper for this morning. Sala, Tinubu, Akpabio governors preach unity and sacrifice. President Bola Tinubu, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, and several state governors have called on Nigerians to embrace unity, sacrifice, and renewed commitment to national development as Muslims across the country celebrate the Eid el-Kabir. In separate Salah messages, the political leaders urge citizens to use the festive period to pray for peace, support the country's ongoing reforms, and extend care to the less privileged, stressing that the values of sacrifice and compassion remain critical to overcoming Nigerians' current challenges. The president, in his Eid el-Kabir message to Muslim faithfuls in Nigeria and across the world, linked the sacrifice which is at the heart of Salah and the economic hardship Nigerians have endured under the administration reform program. He said the sacrifice of the past 3 years has yielded a more stable economy, adding that the country is now positioned as a preferred investment destination. Just as sacrifice brings rewards, he said, I am happy that the sacrifices and efforts we have made over the past 3 years have yielded a more stable economy, making our country a preferred investment destination that will drive job creation and economic growth. And the story continues on the Punch newspaper for this morning. On the Punch, Oyo abduction, CDS deploys spy aircraft, special forces. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, has ordered the deployment of special forces and area surveillance assets to Oyo State following the recent kidnapping incident in the state. This is as it assured residents that troops would maintain a relentless posture until the perpetrators are brought to account and the region's security is completely restored. Speaking to journalists on Tuesday during a briefing on the military activities for May, the Director of Defense Media Operation, Major General Michael Onoja, said the armed forces of Nigeria acknowledge the security concerns in Oyo and express sympathy to the affected families, the government and residents of the state. The Defense Headquarters explicitly acknowledges the recent kidnapping incidents reported within Oyo State. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, extends his heartfelt sympathy and solidarity to the affected families. The government and good people of Oyo State reaffirming that the AFN views any threat to civilian peace as an intolerable affront to national sovereignty, he said. Onoja said the CDS directed a comprehensive security reinforcement in the affected areas through the deployment of advanced area surveillance platforms and specialized ground troops working in collaboration with relevant state authorities. He noted that the ongoing operation had already started yielding useful intelligence, adding that troops would sustain aggressive operations until those responsible for the kidnapping were apprehended. And this continues on the Punch newspaper for this morning. In the same vein of security, 30,000 Fulani militants foiling Nigerians' insecurity, U.S. report. An estimated 30,000 armed Fulani militants are operating across Nigeria in groups ranging from 10 to 1,000 members, according to the May 2026 report released by the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom. The report stated that the militants have become some of the deadliest non-state actors driving religious freedom violations in Nigeria. Titled Non-State Violators of Religious Freedom in Nigeria, Fulani Militants. The report said attacks carried out by armed actors of Fulani ethnic background intensify insecurity across the Middle Belt and southern regions, leaving thousands dead, displacing communities and deepening tensions between religious groups. Violence by Fulani militants caused the highest number of deaths among all religious communities in Nigeria over the last years as compared to attacks by organized insurgent groups and criminal gangs, the report stated. The commission says many of the attacks were directed at Christian communities, though Muslim communities had also suffered raid killings and kidnapping. According to the report, while the group lacks centralized leadership, USCIRF stated that some collaborate with criminal gangs and extremist organizations. And this report is on the Punch newspaper for today, the 27th of May, 2026. And moving forward to the nation for this morning, court rejects suit seeking to ban Jonathan from contesting. A federal high court in Abuja yesterday dismissed a suit filed by a lawyer, John Mary GDOB, seeking to stop former President Goodluck Jonathan from contesting next year's presidential election. Justice Peter Lifu, who delivered the judgment, said that the suit was not only frivolous, but it also amounts to an abuse of court processes. The judge awarded 20 million naira costs against the plaintiff to be paid to Dr. Jonathan, and another 1 million naira to be paid to the second defendant, the Attorney General of the Federation. Justice Lifu added that Jide Obi lacked the locus standi, that is, the legal right to file the suit, having not suffered any loss from his thinking that the former president has the intention to contest the elections. The judge held that a federal high court in Yenagoa and Abuja division of the Court of Appeal had already held that Jonathan was eligible to run, adding that he was bound by the decision of the appellate court. And the story continues on The Nations for this morning. The newspaper review on JDN Radio 101.5 FM. In the next few minutes, you can be part of the conversation, or if you have any stories or headlines that I've read that have sparked or reactions, you can do well to call into the studio line on 07048 001015 and 08022102163. And you can also drop your comments on Facebook on JDN Radio 101.5 FM and also on YouTube. And do not forget that we are live on www.jdnradio1015.com and also on Radio Garden, JDN Radio 101.5 FM. And if you drop your comments, we will do well to read them as being part of your contribution on the newspaper review for this morning. And I will be moving forward to this headline from The Nation that says AISHAT, ADC presidential primary election rigged. Before the declaration of the presidential primary results, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, slipped into a post-primary crisis yesterday. Two presidential aspirants, former Transportation Minister Rotimi Amechi and businessman Muhammad Ayatuddin, outrightly rejected the outcome, which they describe as fraudulent. The third aspirant, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, won with a clear majority in the poll held across electoral wards nationwide. Dismissing the result as a sham, Amechi, a former governor of Rivers State, alleged widespread voters' disenfranchisement and other irregularities. Ahead of the declaration of the results by the Presidential Election Committee, chaired by Chief Ikechi Emenike, Amechi said the figures could not stand. Ayatuddin, who opted out of the collation and announcement of the result, also described the process as flawed, alleging monumental rigging. And that is from The Nation from this morning. And we have comments on our Facebook from Dr. Mrs. Olibara from Owerri. She said that Happy Children's Day to our threatened children. How can children who are still in captivity denied quality education, basic standards of living, and fundamental human rights? Be leaders of tomorrow. She had a question mark there, and she said, "As sad that the basic rights of families, schools, and countries at large to check these abuses, government should without delay enforce all aspects of the universal basic education law." And she sent that as part of our contribution for this morning. And we also have Adekunle Ojo Christina. She said that good morning and happy Children's Day to all of the children around the world this morning. wrap today's on the newspaper review on JDN Radio 101.5 FM. I want to say thank you for staying informed with us this morning. And as we celebrate Children's Day, I wish every child a joyful, safe, and memorable celebration. Keep dreaming, learning, and also growing. And to our Muslim faithful celebrating the Eid al-Adha, that may this season bring peace, may it bring blessings, happiness, and renewed faith to your homes. And do not forget that if you are unable to pull a call through, newspaper review in Yoruba language translation will be coming up shortly after now, and you can pull your call through. And do not forget that the newspaper review continues tomorrow, same time, 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on your dial 101.5 FM. I am ABIODUN SAMSON. Enjoy the rest of your day and keep listening to JDN Radio 101.5 FM, the only radio station that is broadcasting for all.